tap in. Tap, tap, 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 tap in.
Welcome to TT from the D Tap In Tuesday, everybody. It's your girl TT from the D. Of course, you know it's me. It's been a minute, y'all. I'm super excited. First of all, I have to say shout out to Sadrina for getting my graphics together. My actual graphic designer for my logo, some people have been asking me, is Kayla Godby, our former chief of police, Ralph Godby's daughter. She's amazing, very talented, and she does great work. But putting this ensemble together, shout out to Sadrina for getting me together. I just had to put that out there because they help me do what I need to do to make sure that I'm presentable to you guys. And so I'm all about shouting out people in greatness, right? We're still in the month of March, right? So we have the right to say salute to all of my women entrepreneurs. And I'm super excited because it's what the people say Women's Month, right? But it's Women's Month 12 months a year, 13 on the leap year if we had one. But what I need you to know is that there's greatness, right? There's greatness. And I'm super excited on a whole lot of levels. I'm always amped up when I get ready to have this beautiful queen in the building. She's been rocking with me, her and her husband, Courtney, who actually got me started with podcasting back in 2020. You know, when we was at home, we couldn't get out. We ain't had nothing to do but do our regular work. And then we was sitting there feeling like we was trapped. And it was just like conversation still working. You know, the Benjamins, they never stop working. Okay, they never stop working. And so it's just like they're always constantly finding ways to be creative and develop people, not only their own brands, but people help people see their value and their own visions. And so saying all that to say, when I started season 1, Christina and Courtney and my husband, shout out to Swifty McVeigh, who was in Belfast tonight, performing tonight with Snoop Dogg on the I Want to Thank Me tour. So I'm super excited about that. But they were there for me. And then season 2, they rocked out with me. And so season 3, it was supposed to be Swifty last Tuesday, but Swifty was on a flight. You know how that can go when you're on tour and you're doing all that kind of stuff. And so I already knew I had a vision. For those of you that don't know, I started a new show called The Top of the Morning Show. And so it comes on from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, ladies and gentlemen. And you can find me there every morning with something motivating, inspiring, encouraging, or because we're doing something new in the podcast world of TT from the D, we are doing the takeover. And so that brings me to my amazing guest today. She is the first one, and I'm so grateful that she said yes. She gave me her yes, because when I think about when I'm kicking off something or I'm starting something that is going to be, for me, monumental, very important, I think about people who have been there. Like this woman has stood in my wedding, right? She stood in my wedding. And so I think like what she's doing, she's amazing. She has so much to offer. And I'm like, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing this. And I'm like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to ask her if she'll do the takeover, the very first official takeover. And when I reached out to her, she's all over. If she's not jet setting, like on the other side of the country, not just a regular trip, like how we might say, I'm gonna run over to Chicago right quick. She'd be like, I'm gonna run over to Paris really quick for a minute. I'm like, okay, when I grow up, I want to do that. But it's like that is inspiring and motivating. And so I didn't know, you know, that old saying, closed mouth don't get fed. So it was like, let me ask. I don't know what that's going to look like for her schedule, because she also was in the midst of getting ready to launch one of her brands, which we'll talk about tonight. And she said yes. And I was geeked up like I didn't know her. Like, I was like, I was so geeked. I was so excited. And so yesterday, which was Monday, we kicked off the intimate Get to Know Me Christina. right? And so you ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and others, you guys have the opportunity to see her tonight, but hear her today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, and any other time I can snatch her up. So let me show you who this queen is, because you're like, oh, you said my beautiful, amazing guest. Like, okay, let us be the judge of that. Okay, come through then. So let me cut my camera off because you don't care about me. So this picture right here, I know I gotta ask her about this one. This one right here, like, shout out to Jen, who's her partner in crime in her business. She's amazing. I'm going to have Jen with her amazing business coming through in the very near future. But this picture right here, when I got it, I was looking at it for a while. Like, I already know she's beautiful, and with makeup or without, she's a natural beauty. I ain't just saying that that's not my friend, my sister friend. That's you. You sometimes know some people need some help, okay, and sometimes people don't need no help, and she don't need no help. But we always can enhance what we have, and this is like a stoic picture to me. It's presence. It says power. It reminds me, if we had another season of Empire, I could see her being friends with Cookie, right? I could see her rocking out and hanging out with Cookie. And so I was like, okay, with that. This picture right here is like, what you want to talk about? What you want to talk about? Like, she's always dropping jewels and very approachable, very knowledgeable in so many different areas. And so she's a serial entrepreneur. She's a CEO. She's a real boss babe. Okay. I ain't gonna say the other word because you know we kind of try to keep it classy sometimes around this part. Although I got a little sippy, I could say some other things, but I'll wait. But she's really, really, truly a boss. But she doesn't act like boss. Like, we have this joke, I'm gonna bring it up later. Like, I kind of like work for her, but like I hired myself. And so it's funny. It's like it's a running joke. It's for real though, but it's like it's just one of those, I don't know, moments. So without any further ado, because you didn't come on here to see me nor listen to me, you came to see this queen because I have her live in the flesh. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to the building Mrs. Don't get it twisted, she's a Mrs. Christina Benjamin.
Hello, everybody. See that intro. I mean, how am I supposed to? You just set me up.
You know what? I set you up for the double up because you
Right.
already on the come up. So I set you up for the double up.
Oh my goodness. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for the love and just the admiration for what I do. And I love you, Titi. So anytime you ask me to do anything, I'm if I could be there, I'ma do it.
I know
Period.
you will. I know you will. That's facts. I do. And I'm grateful. I salute you because you have a lot going on in your world. I don't know about you, but it's been a long day in my real life and my other life. So I brought me, I hope you don't mind. I brought me, my mother saw this glass because she's visiting. So my mother saw this glass and she's like, why are you measuring your beverage? I was like, oh, no, no, no. That's not measuring. I said, it says something. So
Oh.
it says, good day,
Mm-hmm.
bad day,
Ooh.
don't ask. It's
Don't
above,
ask.
it's above, don't ask. It's above.
Like that. I need a cup like that.
I got to get you one. And you know how we like to come down there for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I
it's
can.
gonna be epic.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So, first of all, before we get into this juicy just evening of womanhood, I would love for you, for those that may not know you, because there's so many, like, as the short hair queen. You got this little phrase like, oh, you went to Christina because you've been Christinafied. I mean, like things like that. It's so funny, like your signature. But I would like for you, before we jump into talking about whatever we want to talk about, tell the people a little bit about who Christina Benjamin is, please.
Okay. Well, number one, I'm born and raised in Detroit. Another thing, listen, guys. That chirp you hear in the back, I just found out that means my battery needs to be changed for my fire alarm. So just in case y'all hear it again, which y'all will, and I know somebody gonna say something. I know. I'm trying to get a ladder to get up there, okay? Black people don't be listening to no alarms.
I can't take you.
I didn't even notice the chirp. I've been living with the chirp for some time, and I didn't know
That's
because the alarm
great.
goes off every 5 minutes. You could just walk past it and it go off.
Yeah.
So, for those that know, I know I'm going to change your battery. Okay. Now that we got that together, I am Christina Benjamin, born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I am I'm a Detroit transplant to Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for almost close to 4 years now. Made a real good name for myself in a short amount of time doing hair. As a hair artist, I was a hair specialist in short hair in particular. From there, I grew my business and became a specialist in camouflage cuts. I became an educator, and I would teach around the city, licensed professionals, my density decreasing methods, or the way I'm camouflaging cuts to hide women that have hair loss. From there, I went on and moved to Atlanta, and the pandemic kind of shifted things for me. I had to think outside the box. I did have a gifting cutting on weave, but the issue I always had was that I never want my stuff to look like weave. I want my ladies that have hair loss to feel like my ladies that have hair. And from that, just having a prior context of having that strong skill in cutting and styling, I was able to translate that onto non-surgical hair replacement units, or cranial prosthesis, or what we call it in the hair loss world. And now I'm able to give women that have alopecia all over the world a glance of their prior self, scalp. It looks like, the hair is regrowing. So I'm just really proud of that. And not only that, I mastered it. So I began to teach it because I could have did it for them, but I wanted them to eat for a lifetime. So I said, Lord, let me teach this. And so I have a dream of building a community around me. And I'm really excited for what God is doing with my career and the people that are attached to me. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm also a wife, a mother of 3, singer and actress. We'll get into that later. But for the most part, what has really built my platform and where I'm most recognized is in my hair, just the art of it and my teaching ability.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, which, I look at it and I say, you real humble, right? Um, you have a lot going on, Christina,
Yeah.
and I've known you for a long time now, and I love sitting in the seat to be a testimony giver
Yeah.
on your behalf, right? Not that you
Absolutely.
need one because your work speaks for itself. Your brand speaks for itself. But for me, being in your life and being able to say, okay, I saw the vision manifest into reality. I
Yeah.
heard you talk about a lot of things. I tell people, I said, there was a time when Christina would be like, oh, why don't you come over here and let me do your hair? And we'd be like,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So you had your basement
didn't
salon.
know what the heck I was doing.
You knew. You just didn't know you knew. Just like you
Didn't know I
say,
knew, but
oh
I just didn't tell y'all.
okay, you kept it a secret, but not a secret.
I kept it a secret.
But yeah, so you started there, and then I remember you stepped out into a salon that was in Southfield, and from there, because you were like you got there and you started making relationships, and you're big on making relationships,
Yeah.
right? And so you was like, I gotta get out of this basement. Like I have to get out, and I have to, and I'm gonna look somewhere towards that way. I think I'm gonna go like Southfield or something like that. So I was like, okay. Next thing I know, you're like, okay, so I got a new spot. I was like, okay. He was like, I'm over at Foil. So you were at Foil for a minute, and then you started to grow and outgrow that. And then I remember being over at the crib one night, and we were having libations. And we were talking. It was me, you, and Courtney.
Yeah.
And so you were like, babe, I'm gonna have my own salon. He was like, okay. And you're like, and I'm gonna probably put it in somewhere like West Bloomfield or something. I promise you. I'm sitting there drinking my, like I'm doing now. Like
Yeah.
that's not tea, ladies and gentlemen. That's honey Jack and some pineapple juice.
Okay. Sound good.
That's my new thing. Shout out to Keisha Cooley. So you talked about it. Next thing I know, you're like, sis, I got my own salon. I'm like, wait. I'm like, wait
Yep.
a minute, right? I'm like, wait
That's
a minute.
facts.
And so you started out, you had that spot, you had the Solus. I think is that how you say that, Solus?
Yeah, I was at Solar Salon.
Solus Salon. And so you had a small suite. And it was beautiful. Like you're all, as y'all can see in her background, that's not a fake background. Y'all know how we have those virtual backgrounds. Not fake, that's authentic. It's real. But
Little
she's
something,
also,
something.
hey Karen, she's also a, she don't know it, but she's also a fashion designer. And she loves to put things together. And she can get you together on a budget at that, right? Because you can
That
think, like,
part.
I
Just make it work.
I can't afford all that. She's like, I got you. So long and short of that, she was in the smaller suite, and her clientele picking up. Yet, let me be clear on the Christina experience.
Yeah.
You would go in, and all these array of snacks, healthy or not, okay,
Yes.
and you would get you a glass of wine or
Yeah.
champagne, coffee,
Mhm.
tea, water, juice.
What you want, girl? What
What
you
you want? It'd be like, what? Like, for me, even though I knew her prior to her ever doing my hair and all that, going to any other salon, I've never experienced that until Christina shot Shirtique.
What? Really?
Girl, I never went nowhere with that class. What? I love my stylist.
Was
All
you on 7 Mile? No, just playing.
they've all been dope, but no one has
Yeah.
ever
Wow.
laid out that carpet. And so when I would be there getting my hair done, waiting or chilling or whatever I was doing, I would listen to your clients and to hear them how that moment, how you really, really, really allowed women to find that moment of peace. Because you know how we
Yeah.
struggle with self-time, self-care. We talk about it. We be on social media like, see, I'm about protecting my peace and I'm about to do this and I'm going to do that. But we say it because it sounds good. And I believe we really do want it.
Yeah.
But when we go out, we're looking like, where do we get it? We know what we want, but who's rolling out that carpet like that? And I can say you did that for your
Wow.
ladies, and you created something that put it at an expectation, like you raised the bar to a certain degree. So when people go somewhere, so they may not get the wine and the champagne and all that, but you looking for some snacks, like you ain't got no chips, you ain't
They do be
like
hungry.
something, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, I ain't, you be like, oh, okay, and in your mind, if you've been to Christina's salon, Shirtique, you'd be like, see, if I was at Christina's shop, right, you
Well,
start,
you had me at the Cheetos.
yeah, right. But it was just watching you
Yeah.
grow, and then let's catapult. Cause you a D girl. She's a D girl, y'all. She's a D girl, like
All
a girl
day.
Tiki from the D. She's a D girl. But you catapulted because God has something for you to do in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And with that, and you can learn more about this, ladies and gentlemen, if you go back to the episode, from yesterday, getting to know Christina, then you would have been able to kind of learn a little bit about that. So then you had to look at it in today's time. Tell us about that journey, Christina, giving up what you knew. Like you had a for sure overbooked clientele here in Michigan, and you stepped out, not even on the branch, I got to say the tree trunk of faith. And what did that look like for you?
Wow. It was I would be lying to you if I did not tell you I wasn't afraid. I was. But I knew it was something I had to do. My badge of honor was how I was able to expediently create a career with the help of God, of course,
Yeah.
to the level and the amount of recognition I was getting around the city, because there's not many short hair stylists, but I was in one of the top 10. When people are thinking of who did you go to, like you said, like people know who curled your hair according to the way your hair is curled, because you just begin to have a signature look.
Yeah.
And so my name was the names that would come up amongst the greats. So even though I wasn't doing it long, I had a thriving business.
Yes.
Thriving business. It was sought out. I was overbooked.
You were.
So I was overbooked.
Yeah.
But I heard God say it was time to go. And I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to start all over again? So initially, it started with me trying to open up 2 locations, one in Atlanta and one in Detroit.
Yeah.
My family had moved to Atlanta, and I did not. Family is very important to me. My only sister ended up moving. Unfortunately, she had lost her husband,
Yeah.
and she just found it really hard starting over in Detroit. And I knew it was hard for her to make that decision because we're all like this.
Yeah.
So for her to leave, that said a lot. And I just couldn't see my life without my sister. You know, I just felt she needed me, especially with her being a widow and stuff like that. However, I had my own children and a husband. I couldn't selfishly ask my husband to pick up and leave to chase my sister.
No, that's right. That's true.
Yeah. And so it was hard, but she left a year prior, but I had really prayed and God knew that I did not want my family separated. God then opened up an opportunity where he moved on my husband's heart to step out on faith. And he said, babe, you know what? I want to step out. My husband is a CEO of a record label. He's in a publishing company. He said, I want to step out. I want to leave General Motors. And I feel like I want to go full time into music. Yeah. And I'm just looking like, what? Bet, because this is the time, this is the opportunity for me to go. Yeah. My son had just made it to 10th grade. My daughter just got into, I want to say she had just gotten into middle school or something like that. She was in 7th grade or something like that. And my son was just about to go into middle school. And my house had just came up for lease. And the new location I was at, where I was in transition to moving to line buildings, I had a window where I had a certain amount of time to sign the contract. If I did stay, I would have had to be in that contract for 5 years. Okay. So all these contracts are up. The kid's school year is like, listen, if I don't want to move them in the middle of a semester, so, right. You know, then even with my salon suite, it was time for my renewal. Yeah. So it was like also, I'm sorry, I was already out of that suite, but the salon I was at, it was like free and clear, but we had to make a decision. Yeah. And if for some reason, every time I was trying to get the money up because I was going to do a whole revamp on that salon, it just wasn't for me to stay there. And I did not know that. And sometimes we just got to be you got to understand when you're trying to make things happen and they're not working, that is a clear indication you're not supposed to be doing that. Okay. And a lot of times, you know, we think it's like, no, let me just try harder. Sometimes God will make certain situations that seem like it would have worked. It'll be a whole monkey wrench that's just thrown into it. But you got to understand that anything God is doing and he allows the enemy to do, anything he do for the bad, as far as the enemy coming in and because anything happens, God allows it. Okay. Yeah. Whether it's good or bad. But you got to know, even if he did allow you to go through a hard time, he's going to turn it around for your good because he's trying to teach you something out of that. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I kept trying to make this situation work for me to stay in the salon. And it just was nothing that I was doing. Everything was falling through. The place wasn't the way I wanted it to be. Me and the lady at the time, we weren't on good terms. And I'm like, God, what are you telling me? I have left my salon suite in West Bloomfield, came over to this place thinking I'm going to start a brand new building, about to put all this money in there, and you're telling me to leave? Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly what I had to do. Yeah. So what did I do? I packed up my family. Me and my husband pulled all our savings and we left. I did not know what I was going to do. And I never anticipated an interrupt in my income because you got to understand, I was already a 6-figure stylist when I was back in Detroit, you know, really multi 6 figures at that point because I was leading into like my business was becoming lucrative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I didn't really take into account there's going to be a period where you're going to have to rebuild. So you can't go down there living the way you lived before. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's different when you go into a salary position. I'm my own CEO. I had savings, but it wasn't that much for me to live off for a year or two. And who knew the pandemic was going to happen? So as I moved over there, my God, girl, it got real. So for some time, I was coming back and forth from Detroit and Atlanta. But I remember the Holy Spirit speaking to me. He said, stop looking back. What you did back there is not going to work here. And I distinctly remember God warning me about going back at the time because I was trying, not that I can't ever go back to Detroit, but the way I was trying to approach going back to Detroit, I had one foot in and one foot out. I wouldn't fully commit to Atlanta. So it was hard for me to grow.
That's right.
And it was almost to the place where my disobedience almost cost me my life, my last visit when I tried to come. It was back in the wintertime. I had a severe asthma attack, and I don't even have asthma like that. I was on the way to see a client, and I had no business being in Detroit. But
Yeah.
I was afraid, and I had bills to pay, and I got scared. And that was the last straw. I said, God, I got you. I hear you finally. And then you know what he made sure? Because he know his daughter is hard-headed. The pandemic happened. Now I really couldn't go back.
Like I just drive. I think I could just drive up there. Like, okay, no.
No. So
Yes.
the pandemic happened, and it forced me to really just buckle down. And that was probably one of the best things. Again, what the enemy meant for bad, what God allowed to happen at that moment, God still was teaching us all something in that. Even though we seemingly lost things, a lot of us that are still here, we've come out better. We have businesses now. We have a different lease on life. Yes, unfortunately, we did lose a lot of people. I lost my father in particular, but it also gave me a new lease on life, and it let me see how fragile and how short life is, and just it can affect anyone at any time. So it's important that you hurry up and expedite your process so you can get to the goal. And that's really, what are you here for? What is your gift? And so that's what God's been cultivating in me for the last about 3 years. About 3 years now. And my focus is straight up women and hair loss and teaching my community, bringing awareness, restoring women's confidence by restoring their crowns.
That's very because you know how people will say, "Oh, I'm not my hair," and all those great things, and right. But when we start to lose our hair, because as I was telling you, I said, my hair is starting to kind of thin out. Like it didn't used to do that. And I'm like, okay, when I last time I did the big chop, you were the one that did the big chop. So Swift is like, just hop on the flight and go down there and let Christina chop your hair off then. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, it's more to this getting on a flight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut my hair off because when I get back to the D,
then what I'm gonna do?
Put a wig on. I'll put a hat on.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm gonna do, and so I know that's why you are helping to develop other people who can do I hate to say do a Christina style, but you are known for your style. Your signature is definitely something people have tried to copy, but it's unique, and it's kind of like I would definitely need one of your trained. What's the appropriate term you use for the young ladies that take your master class? And
they're hair loss professionals. They have worked under me as far as, or I would say nobody works under me, but with me. And also a lot of them, I'm excited to even say in the near future will be carrying my product line. So this way, these are people that train with me personally. And they're my affiliate partners. So I can send people across the country. If I have someone in Detroit, if I have someone in Connecticut, if I have someone in Dallas, these are people that carry our line of products. So, and products also meaning the hair systems as well, because they're going to need somewhere to have them installed. So I only want to work with the best. I'm very clear even about who I want to teach going forward. It's not a free for all anymore. So whoever got in and was learning with me, that's great. But now I'm building up what God put in me, because I need stylists across the country to help me build this and take it across the globe and the nation. And so that's my main focus, is the training that I'm investing in people are people that will carry my product line.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So I want to share my screen if I may. I'm still learning some of these things, y'all. Let me see. What I'm trying to do here. Let me see. I think I know what I'm doing a little bit. Shout out to Swifty, because he normally be navigating, helping me. He not here. But okay,
shout out to Swift.
I know, right? So let's see. I don't know if this is here. Okay, I think I'm doing it. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this.
Yes, simply staple it. Oh my gosh! So over the pandemic time, as I was developing products, I was using so many other people's things. I said, listen, First of all, these people not paying me to promote them, and I want to use a product that I know works. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I end up seeking out for labels that have um adhesives that I like, and this is where Simply Stay Put was born. Simply Stay Put would definitely have you simply staying put. This is for our lace product, so it's a lace to skin product. This is only for lace, so you can't use this to glue your tracks. This is for people that need it to be adhered to skin, but you can use them on frontals, closures, full lace wigs. So this product works really, really great. I like it. It's no latex in it. It's water soluble. So it breaks down easy with the water, but it's not harsh, and I like it. So it's an easy to use, user friendly adhesive for you to use. Also, we have our lace melters, which are those headbands you see. And then, of course, we have my toppers and we call them crown hair systems. This one over there with the blonde, that is actually a partial unit. So it's like just at the top, because I see a lot of women that have female pattern baldness. So, they have hair on the sides and back, but they just need some fullness up top. Or if they're struggling, they could also have that act in with just like clips where they clip it in. The one in the center is a bob, and that's a special color. They don't normally come like that. So those are things I personally color, and that's a really great seller. Also, it's a vibe that's great for someone that just wants a little jazz on the side.
Yeah.
So I try to create pieces that are easy to use, user friendly. However, what I do is a little different. This is why I don't just throw any and every wig on there. They're all hair systems, but there are certain hair systems that are more difficult for the average person to put on. So I try to put things on my site that I feel like worst case scenario, even if you don't know how to do anything, you can kind of try to figure it out. So I'm excited with that, but we're about to shut that down, and we're re-releasing our brand. And when I tell you God gave me a whole new plan and a whole new layout, sis, this is it. So I'm excited to release it to the world. We'll be doing a campaign on that, so I may have to come back. But you guys are going to be seeing us reintroduce our product in a whole nother way, and I'm really proud of it.
I'm proud of you too. Did you say you might have to come back? You might have to.
Oh, I was just trying to be humbly ask you that.
Whatever.
Come back.
You can come on here. You know what I mean? It's an honor to have you. Like, for instance, I was saying earlier how you are doing the takeover for my new show, the top of the morning.
Yeah, we had a good time.
It was amazing. Today actually, and it's so ironic that we talked about it a little bit. We Karen said, I love all of those. I am a wig virgin though, but they look natural.
Oh, thank you, Karen. I
Karen
try.
here, so
They do look really good. That's not filter work. That's they actually look like that in person.
Oh, for
they look
sure.
very nice.
For sure, they are natural. But we talked about alopecia today on the morning show, the top of the morning show.
We did.
I had someone that texted me and said that they really needed to hear that because they're struggling with their hair. And I didn't know that this person had alopecia. I just thought that they just kept cutting their hair kind of low.
Yeah.
And, I noticed that it was thinning though. I did notice that, but I didn't know that that was a struggle for her. And so when she shared that, it was just like oh, okay. So I'm like, these opportunities, like I said earlier, there's so many different layers to you and so much to you, but you took the time on my morning show to break it down. You gave a beautiful introduction of who you are, an overview, I should say. To sum it up,
Thank you.
Did an overview yesterday. Today we talked about women in alopecia. Tomorrow we talking about boop, boop, boop. You got to tune in to find out. Okay,
that's right.
Just know there's something every day this week. So we're blessed to have you doing the whole takeover. I told Swift when I talked to him before he performed tonight, I said, it's beautiful that I have the lineup for the week already. Christina owns the week. And he was like, that's dope. He said, I know you got to feel good about that. I said, I do. I said, moving forward, I've extended that type of invitation to Crystal P.
She's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yeah, we already knocking it out. And so just people that I feel that have substance and things that people need to know about. It's hard to wrap things up in just the 1 hour show. I could come and say, okay, next week come back for part 2 or whatever. Like when we get
Yeah.
ready to do, I want to do something different. And so I know we talked about it, but I definitely last season it was you, me, Addie, shout out to Addie, and Bianca, who's down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, we broke down sisters. Like, which sister are you? You know, and so now Tyler Perry, shout out to Tyler Perry. He don't know it, but I'm gonna be working with him soon.
That's right. Speak it.
Okay, speaking it. And so it was like he brought us Zatima, right? So now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we got it, you know. And shout out to your one assistant who jumped into our girl. She had
Regina.
shout out to Regina. You know what? I
She
want
really
to
brought the
because she brought laughter
the
to that.
comedy for
It
sure.
was
Yes.
funny as hell because she just kind of was in the back and she kind of walked in and it
She
looked
did.
staged, but it really wasn't. It
It
was
wasn't.
authentic and genuine.
I
But
said,
yeah,
I said, girl, compose yourself.
like,
That's her. That's her
and you're like,
show.
come
I
on
mean,
up
you should
here.
have been sitting here more
That's
than me.
right.
She knew more
So
about the show than me.
tell her next time when we break it down, we're gonna do that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have you come back for that. If I could steal you away for that. Bianca says she already on board, and we all know. Well, no, we all don't know, but Bianca, who is also a health conscious person, she's also launching something that I'll be having her on for. But she's best friends with Zach and his wife, like the real,
Okay.
like DeVale. She's best friends with him and his wife, and it's like to hear the stories. But I didn't know he was from Detroit. I
I
didn't know
didn't
he was
either.
girl, and I didn't know he used to play for the Lions.
I didn't know that either.
I said, "Come on now with the education." Yeah, fun fact. That's a fun fact. So things like that we can, we'll break down or whatever. But as far as all the things you're doing, I just want to kind of tap in a little bit more. Let's talk about your academy that you recently just launched.
Okay. Well, thank you for reminding us about that. Yes. So for the
Really?
last
You
2
say thank you
years,
for reminding me.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
For the last 2 years, I have been teaching these systems. So stylists from across the country have been training with me. I've trained over 100 stylists now, which is amazing. We've taught them in hair replacements as far as my method goes.
Yeah.
So when they come in, they're getting a 2 to 3 day class from start to finish, how I do lace. We also, this time around, we have a curriculum. I'm really excited to introduce Gloria Ford wrote this book. She's been in the industry over 40 years. The thing I love about this for professionals, just like when we went to cosmetology school and we learned out of Milady and stuff like that, I learned out of Pivot Point and stuff like that. We all had a book that we could go back and look at. And I think I love about this, it gives you context of any type of hair replacement system that's out there on the market, because none of them have really changed. It's just things are starting to trend now. When you come into my academy, I am teaching you my way, my technique, the way God showed me how to do it. But I like you to have your own context of foundational things. So we do a lot of theory. I do also have a beginner's class and advanced class. And what I learned is that it's best not to mix them both.
Okay.
Mainly because of the pace. It's not because anybody is slow or not. It's just you don't want anyone feeling intimidated in there, because you have some people that have been doing lace for a long time, and then you have some that they're not so confident in it yet. And we want everyone to feel confident, comfortable, and everyone's kind of on the same level. Which, the great thing about my students, they all help each other out. I foster a it's not church, but you're going to know God is in that place. Because one, we're going to open up with prayer, and I'm going to send you out with blessings.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
And I told God I would do it because I needed him to know that he can trust me and that this is ministry first. Residual, just the residual effects of me doing what I'm supposed to do. God allows me to make an income off of it. But more importantly than that, I am giving them a viable resource to take back home. I literally have stylists who have tripled their income. I have someone right now in Detroit, tripled her income in less than a year.
Wow.
Her name is Brandy. So the thing is, I love it. I love it. I love it. Seeing things like this because she was willing, even out of all the people all the people I trained, just like college, you can have tons of people that go to college, but there's only a few that really will take what they learn with their degree and take it to the next level. Then you have some people that just fall into regular positions, which isn't bad, but you'll have some people that they're ready for a change, and that's who I'm ready to teach. So with the advanced and with the beginner class, I'm working for people. I'm taking in people. You do have to go through pre-qualification, so it's not a free for all. I don't train everybody. We're only training the best, and we want to train people that are looking for a system to put in their business to partner up with us with our affiliates. So say I present my product to you and you like the product and you say, hey, I want to be able to do these hair systems. I want to have access to vendors and retail. Well, you'll be able to carry our product just like any other product, like a Dudley or like Design Essentials or a Paul Mitchell salon, and this is where you come in for the Master Class Academy to get your training to carry the product. Now, here's the thing. The great thing about this is that you get to be with us for about a year. You sign on for about a year, but this is so you don't have to build by yourself. Also, because I have a platform, I'm able to lead people to certain regions of people that have trained with me and are affiliate partners. And we don't take on anyone. So we're not putting people in the same region, in the same city, very close to each other. So what this helps is foster a system of we're putting people on the map that would have never been on the map because one, they may not have the social media platform. Two, they may not even want to become their own hair company. Now, this may work for some and it may not work for others. But the thing I love about this, you joining with my company has nothing to do. It doesn't take away from you being your own company. You're just carrying a line. Those clients still become your clients, even though they came through us as a reference. So they ultimately become your clients forever. And I think that's great because you're able to build on your own and with our company. So with most of them, when they're redirecting their career or going into more of a specialty with hair loss, they struggle to try to get those clients in. My main thing is let's get you good at what you do. Let's highlight it. Now, because you have taken my training, when people call me, you're on a directory so I can lead them to people across the country that I know is in continual training with us because we have quality control with the products as well as, they're going to be held to a certain expectation. So, I like that because no one helped me do that.
Right.
I needed help, but there was no one to help me.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing that hurt my heart even last year when I shut it down for a moment is that I trained so many people, but I still didn't have enough people to send people to because I can't put my name on everybody.
That's right.
And so just because you go to a class for 1 or 2 days, that does not make you an expert. Even if you go to my master class, you have to continue to train.
That's right.
And the ones that continue to train, the ones that continue to stay on top of their skill, those are the ones that make it. If nothing else, you just made an investment. I mean, thank you. But we could have really got you to the goalpost if you signed up and really was ready to show up and do the work. So I think this is why mentoring is important and staying plugged in with the community. And so you don't feel like you're out there by yourself. And so with me targeting who I even want to target for people to work with my company, it allows me to also mentor from a different level and help these companies, these hair centers that I'm partnering up with grow because their success is my success. And so I am so excited about what God is doing because that is how you create legacy and that is how you build community across the country and the world.
Come on now. Come on, public speaker. You know what I mean? I'm saying you're dropping jewels. And for those of you that are stopping in over there on Instagram, because Instagram, StreamYard does not allow Instagram at this point in life connect. Yeah. But I see we have people over there. If you want to actually get the chance to actually ask questions to Christina, you can shimmy on over to StreamYard. You will go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, log into your Facebook account. Therefore, you could be able to share your questions and comments. Just jump into your Facebook account. But in order to be seen and talk with Christina as far as post questions and make comments, then you definitely got to go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. Okay. So anyway, I had to address our people on Instagram because you got folks over there as well.
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
hey, she said, hey. Okay. So with the academy, I know it's not one of those we just chasing the dollar. We've elevated, and that's a beautiful thing again to be able to sit back after all these years and watch. And I remember when you took cutting classes and you
Yeah.
did scissors, and I remember so much because that journey was so plain to see. I'm not a hair care person. That ain't my calling. That's not my gift. Um, I look at it and I'm like, well, how can I jump in and still work with you? The only time I get to work with you is when you're in your music ministry.
Yeah.
When the joke, now I can share this joke with y'all. So the funny running joke. So Christina's also an amazing artist. She has a
Praise
very
God.
gifted voice. She knows how to saturate the atmosphere. She knows really how to allow God's light to shine through her music. And so it started out, we met through, actually I met your husband. I told somebody the story about this the other day, and I'm like, okay, so we're down in Atlanta. He was promoting Christina. We didn't know what Christina looked like. She could have been a lady with one eye and a leg and a kickstand. We didn't even know. And he was just like, I need you to vote for my wife. She's beautiful and all these great things. Hold on, let me pause that. Karen says some health insurance will cover wigs for some medical conditions due to alopecia, chemotherapy, but the terminology used could be hair prosthesis, cranial hair prosthesis, may cover or be reimbursed for our patients. Okay, Karen.
I'm glad she said that because we didn't get around to that, but that she's exactly right. And a lot of times people are going there, you can't go in there asking your insurance, can you get covered this wig? No, you need the correct terminology. And she's saying exactly what needs to be said. It's a hair prosthesis, a cranial hair prosthesis. Non-surgical hair replacement unit, but those cranial prosthesis, hair prosthesis is normally the terms. And you normally have to have a prescription wrote up for that. So she's absolutely right. So for some of you guys that have insurance, now they ain't gonna tell you, you gotta ask. But go and ask, what do they cover for that? And then also, who do they have in their network, and do they work with anyone out of network? Because I have worked with some companies that I have not been in network with. Maybe they didn't pay for the whole thing, but they were able to get a certain percentage of it. So that's definitely something that is very important to check into. And if Karen has any information for any of these people, please let us know,
Yeah,
because that's great
leave
information.
that there for a minute, so people can see that. Hair loss is a big deal. I never would say it's not. Um, exactly, patient. She's a patient advocate. That's true. Karen's a patient advocate. So,
Thank you, Karen.
we definitely, I'm gonna go back to this message here for those that may not have jotted that information down that's dealing with alopecia. If you have medical insurance, then you want to look at this terminology, as Karen pointed out to us, to educate us. And I know we paused on the music ministry. You're not escaping. So before we shut this down, Christina, but
Well,
I think that this is a little bit more important because you got people. Some people will shut all the way down because they don't know what to do. They don't want to go out. They don't want to have the wiggy look. We're in
thank you, Karen.
the wiggy look, and we move back and forth. But when you actually know, like today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, you also can go on the top of the morning show, which can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart Radio Podcast, Amazon Music. You can check out the morning show and the episode today. I believe we're in season 3, and I believe this is going to be episode 7. Okay, so episode 7 will be women and alopecia, and you will hear more detail from Christina Benjamin because she is an expert in this area, and she'll talk really deeply about this. And you talked about this in the
Yeah.
show. You actually did touch that. We unpacked this really well. So if you want to get a little bit more insight, more detail, not only can you follow Christina Benjamin 82 over on IG,
Yes.
her website we're scrolling across our board here. For those of you that's on Instagram, just go and scurry on over to Christina Benjamin 82. You'll see a whole lot.
Yeah, go follow me, girl. And girls
Yeah.
and boys. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and
You got
gentlemen.
men too. I learned that you got men too that
Absolutely.
suffer from alopecia, and they
Yeah.
need units too. I mean, some
You see these units is changing the game for these men. They look
yeah,
totally
but
different. You like,
now some of them
all right now. You
uh-uh,
look different now.
no,
I deal with you now. You
mm-mm,
got yourself a little hairline now.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
Yeah, they know how to act.
mm. Now let's talk about it while we talking. Now we talking about it. Let's talk about it. Now some of these folks you
Thank
got to
you,
be
Karen.
careful. We have to be careful who said they're an expert. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Let's tap into that, Christina. Um, how would you recommend a person find a certified specialist that deals with alopecia and they're not just someone saying, oh, I can make you a unit. I got you.
Number one,
Thank you.
you want to make sure you go look at their website. If they don't have one, see if they have. A lot of people operate their business straight off of IG, and and a lot of times like a style seat. They should have a virtual catalog of their work, which would be their grid. So you want to kind of search through their grid, look at their stories, see the type of person you're going to see. Next, if somebody's telling you you can come Friday and get your hair done and you did not go get no consultation, run. It's no way. It's no way. Me as a hair loss professional can blindly give you something and we did not physically or virtually talk about your hair loss. Also, what has happened in the past is very important to how we gonna move in the future with us dealing with what's currently going on with your hair state. And so you also want to look at the location. Location is everything. Hair loss clients like privacy.
That's right.
They want to feel safe. Also, you want to work with someone that doesn't have stuff all over the place because you may be exchanging a little bit of light medical information.
Yeah.
So, where's that information going? Or if they're taking pictures of you, what's that? Did they have you sign a waiver? It's you'll see it's no different than when you go into a doctor's office, which is why I kind of like to work with clinics or hair centers. So you want to make sure, do they have a setup that's conducive for what you need to make you feel comfortable? Also, you'll know in their terminology. Normally, professionals speak like a professional. They're going to talk about a cranial prosthesis. They're going to know a certain amount of different types of alopecias, areata, totalis, all that kind of stuff, universals. Like, they're going to know about that traction alopecia. Also, they're not going to be sitting up there diagnosing you because at the end of the day, I cannot tell. Even if I see you look like you have alopecia, I do not have the credentials to tell you you have alopecia. What I'm going to do as a professional is lead you to a physician or some type of dermatologist and say, now go get a diagnosis, go get it checked out, and then we'll work with an action plan alongside the dermatologist, more than likely, or your physician, because it's important that we're not being counterproductive. Also, you want to see what type of product lines are they using. Are they just going to the beauty supply store and putting things in your head? It's important because at the end of the day, it's also about selling an experience, not just a service. And then we want to make sure whatever amount of hair loss you have, they have a hair system that works for you and for your lifestyle, for your climate, for your high activity in your life. Also, are they versatile? Are they able to handle certain styles? Because you may go through some people that may have the foundational things, but aesthetically, they still can't perform on your hair system to get it to the look that you want. So you want a well-rounded stylist. A well-rounded stylist, you're going to see a good amount of pictures of their before and afters. It's not going to be the same style on everybody. Because sometimes you have some styles like, I can do it all. Okay, but that's the same haircut you do on everybody. It just look different.
And you know what's funny? I've seen some amazing work, but then you like, okay, so like everybody doing that stuff, like everybody.
Yeah,
But sometimes, no, I would say this: when I randomly selected a stylist back when I was buying hair books, I would look like, oh, that's hot. I don't know what I'm gonna look like in that, because if anybody knows me, I will change a wig. I will change. Hey, Casey, I don't know if he's still there. How cute. Hi, Casey. No, I'm sorry. Okay, so people will change their look like I do. Like, they're like, this lady told me at my job, she saw me in the elevator, and she was like, Oh my God, hey. I said, hi. She was like, I'm gonna say this to you. She said, girl, you could rock some styles. She was like, I never know who I'm dealing with when I see you. I said, yeah, yeah. I try to be a little consistent with length, but I will change and have to throw a highlight and this and that. But I said, when you're losing hair and you're trying to find a specialist. See, I'm not there just yet. Cause I told you, I said, my hair's starting to thin out around the edges. And I'm like, not bad, but bad enough for me. Where when I wash my hair and I'm blow drying it out, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what's happening right here? And so I'm like, oh, so I'm thinking like, do the big chop again. But there's maintenance. And even when a person comes and they get a unit from you, there's
It's
still maintenance
maintenance.
to it. You can't just get it and
And I
like a
want to
wig.
make it, and I want to make a distinction because this is why I don't call them wigs.
Come on now, make it plain.
Wigs and cranioprosthesis are totally different.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the same. The psychology behind it is not the same. See, you're able to switch up multiple looks.
Yeah.
Okay. You still have thinning. You have thin. You're starting to experience some thinning, but you still have hair.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when these people come in, they have to have a non-surgical hair replacement unit. That means they're bald. Some people are on different stages of their hair loss journey.
Yeah.
Now, you may have some that's, it could be like me and they're just thinning up top. They still have more options than someone that's clean bald.
Right.
When you have somebody that's clean bald, it has to be attached a certain way. It has to be specially made for them to fit their head and their hair loss area. That's different. So the maintenance and the care goes into that differently, and the price point is also differently. Then you go into the beauty supply store, and what I find is that this is why I'm trying to re-educate our community on this is a special service. This is a medical device. This is why insurance companies cover it. That's why they're not going to cover a wig. They're not going to sit up there and say, well, I went to a beauty supply store and I found one, even though technically, if I wanted to call it a cranioprosthesis, even that wig you got from the beauty supply store, it isn't coming out your scalp. So it is a non-surgical hair replacement unit. But on a grander scale of things, when we are sitting there and we are designing something for you, it's a totally different psychology behind that. So people with wigs, that's for cosmetic use. So it'd be different for you, but you have hair. So you see what I'm saying? Even though it's starting to thin, you can change it up a lot. It's a little more cost efficient for you trying to find the right style. And the average person thinks like that. So the thing is, what we're trying to get people to understand is that cranioprostheses are totally different. It's no different if you didn't have an arm, right? Mm-hmm. And you had to go to a special prosthetic doctor to create something for you. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't get that off of Amazon. You want to go to Arms R Us to get that, right?
No, I wouldn't go to Groupon.
We want to go to Groupon for that. No. And so it's going to be a different experience of you coming in there with your consultation. They're not going to be like, well, go down aisle 5. There's some arms over there. That's not how that works. So I just wanted to make that distinction too, because sometimes because they look alike, people want to compare them and they're not. They're different. It's in a different classification. Karen knows about it. So this is the advantage that most stylists don't understand because, wow, here's the thing. They've been doing non-surgical hair replacement units for years. They just didn't really know it. Wow. And so when they're coming in for me to teach them, I'm trying to help them readjust their career so they can go into specialty. When you go into specialty, your ticket is totally different, but your setup got to be different as well. We're not trying to make the clients feel like also they can get this anywhere because that's not true. It's not. And so an educated and a licensed professional or even a certified professional is going to create the experience of you feeling as if you're almost going to your doctor's office. That intake needs to be there. And so then you understand that there's an action plan behind what we're doing. Now, some people can regrow. Some people are at a state where they can regrow it, but most people are not. Why do you think Bosley Hair Club for Men clean up? And guess what? Some people who don't even know how to cut hair half of the time. And so just imagine if we were able to. So what I'm trying to do is target people that have the talent. They got the skills to do the hair. I could show you how to install a unit. That's nothing. I need you to translate what you've been an expert with over years of experience. You know how to put lines in the hair. You know how to do ponytail. I mean, it's so much you could do with cranial prosthesis. For short hair, I just happen to be specializing in that because it was a niche market for it. Because when you go to the beauty supply store, it's only about 5 short wigs. And you got a whole 100 long wigs.
Yeah.
And guess what? The short wigs look like short wigs. So I got a specialty and a specialty. So what I'm just saying to say this is that the market is wide open. So I'm coming for the best right now because I'm like, it don't make no sense that you're still taking 10 to 15 clients a day and barely still making ends meet when you are doing circles around these people, period, with the hairstyles. If you could translate that onto a cranial prosthesis, we in business now. Let me show you how to make some money. Let me show you how to really help some people that they're great clients. They value what you do. They need your services. It's the difference between a need and a want. This is why people chair hop, because they can go into different other people's chairs. When you have a hair loss client and you take care of that client, you got a client for life.
Amen to that. That's true. And
I'm just saying.
You know, Pam English. Shout out to Pam English.
Hi, Pam.
She's one of the producers from Peerless Times, Christina.
Yes, I remember her. Hey, girl.
Yes. So she said,
I'm glad you're learning stuff. Yes.
But she said this content is so informative and engaging. I'm learning tonight, and thank you. So thank you.
Absolutely.
For that. And then Karen said, hey, Pam. Okay, now they're about to have a reunion. Now I got a question. And Pam said, hey, Christina.
Hey, girl.
So I have a question from Instagram world. Yoshana, she said, I'm noticing that my hair is shedding a lot. Should she be concerned?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yodi,
that is the time for you to don't take it into your own hands. You need to go to the doctors. You need to go to the doctor. If you have insurance, try to go to the doctors. If you don't have it, we may have to just try to figure out whatever you're doing currently right now. You may have to start from inside out and see, what am I eating? What's my health like? Are you on medications? Have you had surgery within the last year? You know, anesthesia takes a long time to come out your system. You know, also sometimes with it shedding, are you going through any stress? You know, also you can have autoimmune things going on. Sometimes your body turns on itself and it'll start attacking your hair follicles. Do you have inflammation going on? So it is very important that, now I will tell you this, everybody hair shed. Normal shedding is about 150 strands a day. But when it's coming out in globs, that's not normal. You shouldn't be able to touch your hair and hair is just coming out. That's your body telling you you're deficient in something. Something's not right. So what happens is when we're always putting under a unit, we're not realizing over the years it's been shedding. Your shedding probably started 10 years ago. And so when you're finally ready to address the issue, now we're at a place where you're on full-blown alopecia at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's certain things is not coming back because it hasn't been addressed. So I will say, if you're doing some shedding, whatever is pulling out your hair, it could just be maybe doing too much tugging in the area. It may not be getting enough moisture. You may not be getting enough nutrients, or it could be something totally different. It may be your body. A lot of times, and I will say this because I've been a victim of this, and this is why I've tried to recently, where you see I've been showing off my weight losses, because not only for the weight loss, hi Crystal, I had to get my health together. Right. Because when your body is starting to show you signs of like you're breaking out, even with your face, you know, your hair is falling out, you're getting tingling sensation. Your body tells you what's going on. It may not tell you exactly, but it's telling you our check engine light is on. And so what happens is we don't take care of it because we say we'll get to it. So oftentimes it don't just stop. You know, normally with your car, if your car it's going through some maintenance, your maintenance light comes on. So we got to learn how to pay attention to when our maintenance light comes on. My maintenance light came on and I said, God, I'm going to have to change something. Yeah. So with that being said, I really encourage you, go see the doctor. And then whatever you're doing with your hair, you really have to do some detective work, but more than likely it normally starts from the inside out. It really does. And a lot of people also know this with the alopecia you're seeing. Just because your mom had a hole full of hair and your daddy and your cousins, it could have skipped a couple of generations and now is your turn to have female pattern baldness.
This is true.
Also, there are other things. Your environment also has a lot to do with if you're going to have hair loss.
Oh wow.
Yeah, your environment definitely can play on that. Also, what we eat.
Oh no. Throw the whole sink away, cause yeah,
What we eat, it's a lot of pesticides that are in our food. These
yes,
GMO that are in our foods. Like there are
MS.
mutations going on. There are people starting to get different types of forms of lupus and diabetes and fibroids.
Come on
All
now,
these things could be, yes.
good now.
So, at the end, people are having asthma and allergies at an alarming rate. And I have never seen so many people struggle with alopecia, men, women, and children
And
across all races. It's not just a Black person thing. It's not just our community. And it's not just traction alopecia, which most stylists will tell you, or people when by the time they bought, well, I had traction alopecia. Traction alopecia is not about to be all back here. Unless that's what you've been doing over the years. You see people are starting to have a pattern. That's female pattern baldness. So that could have came from anywhere. That's genetic. It could be genetic. Then you have areata where it's just in certain areas. And a lot of times we don't know where it comes from. So early detection is the best. So whatever you can do, and I will say this to some of you guys, stop hopping from chair to chair to chair. That's not good. I know some of them can slay hair, but you have to also understand and see the type of stylist chair you sitting in. Do they care about hair care? Because you could do that in your 20s, but now since you're a little older, you have to be in someone's chair that will preserve what you have. Even if your hair don't grow back, we're trying to keep what you do have. Because we may have to be realistic with that. Sometimes it's going to grow back, but sometimes it's gone. And let's try to keep what you have. So there are other ways and other cranial prostheses we can marry with your hair, which I do a lot of blending. I always tell them, if we got hair to blend in with our piece, let's use it so you still feel like it's your hair. That's important to me, that you own the hair system and you feel as if this ain't no wig. This ain't even no cranial prosthesis. This is my hair.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Wow. Crystal said, "Well, we need you back here."
Well, y'all gonna have to just come to Atlanta, baby.
Well, you know what, Crystal, I touch and agree with you, but yeah, I'll hop on the flight. I love going to the ATL anyway.
Y'all gonna have to come see me. I'll come back every night again. But I'm this is why I'm teaching, so I can have more people that's in Detroit, which I do have someone in Detroit. I'm very proud of. She's doing amazing work.
Yeah. Shout out to Brandy. I haven't met her yet, but I will. And so I held you over the hour mark. I'm
sorry.
No, because you know me. I'll be like, let's go. Let's get it. But I definitely would like to have you come back because you got slick with it. You started prophesizing and preaching and stuff. And
I did.
Yeah, get it. But it's good because there's people that need what you have, Christina.
Because I'm just trying to help.
Don't do it. So I'm gonna have to have you come back again. Oh, Crystal says send her the info for Brandy here.
Okay, definitely will.
Okay, oh yeah. Okay, see,
tell her I'll inbox you.
Crystal, she said she's gonna inbox you. Like she can't read, Christina, really. Like, she's very smart. And Crystal is an esthetician, correct?
Yes, she does amazing work. Yeah. Crystal clear. Yes. Yeah. She was doing my face when I was back there, getting me together.
Crystal, I have to reach out to you to come on here and tell us how to keep our face together, how to keep our skin.
Absolutely.
Clear, right. Then we can do a tag team, you and Christina, and we'll come on. So, Christina, as always, Karen said, great info. Love your story and your businesses. Your husband.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Karen's the best.
She brought Beth up to Lansing.
What?
Beth, Evrod, and Swifty.
Oh, that's what's up. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Good evening, Tanya.
Now, Tanya's amazing, y'all. She has her own show on the radio. I'm gonna her. And Tanya, can you drop the link info for your show? Amazing. She said she missed you, Chris.
I miss you too.
A family reunion. I love it. But yeah, so Tanya has an amazing show. I've reached out to her. She gave me her yes.
That's what's up.
I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. Scheduling is all over the place. And I know that you're a very busy queen. So if you can drop your information in here so we can get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more listeners out there, I'll read it off to all those folks that's over here in Instagram world, because we know that StreamYard does not allow us to do that. Yeah. And then Sunshine, if you're still in the building, Sunshine is another amazing podcaster. I'm going to be
Woo
on her
woo.
show. Yep, shout out to Sunshine.
I
Drop your
love
info
it.
in here as well. I'm going to be on her show on March 30th. So I'm excited about that. And then Christina, as always, my queen, it is always a pleasure. Not because you're my sister,
Same here.
but because you're
Always.
educated. You love educating people.
I do.
Night you went in. When you get a chance to sit back and look at the show, as we often do, then you'll get the
I didn't do
opportunity.
that bad. Now I didn't do that.
No, what I'm saying is you can get back and you can see how you went in,
Yeah.
really went there. Like we didn't base even, and it kind of went hand in hand with the morning show. For those
Yeah.
of you that may just be checking it out, I have a new show, the top of the morning show, streaming on Spotify, of course, Anchor, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio Podcast. So Christina is doing the Christina Benjamin takeover. She's doing
Christina Benjamin takeover.
and so all this week on the top of the morning show from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., you can catch Christina tapping into so many different topics. We honestly talked
Absolutely.
about women in alopecia today, this
We
morning.
did.
Yeah, so you got a double dose for those of you that this is a really interesting topic. Tomorrow, I would tell you what it's about, but you got to tune in. So go in at 6 a.m. to 7 a.m.
It's
every
gonna be
day
good.
moving forward too. But this week is the Christina Benjamin takeover. Next week, we got the takeover from Crystal P. And
Woo.
I'll be having Pamela English and Shirley Smith coming in representing
All right now.
Peerless Times on the 28th. We'll be talking about Peerless Times. I'm excited to share. I was on the administration team. I have now also moved over to be one of the stage managers this year again. I'm really excited about that. I love what I do. Y'all know that's my walk. Y'all know that's my thing. And so much more for you guys. I just really appreciate you all for tapping in for Tapping Tuesday. I have a lot of things in the work. It's nothing but God. God is breathing
Amen.
life into a whole lot of things. And Tanya said you can listen to the Entertainment Lounge on weekdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom,
I have to
boom.
tune in.
Shout out. And then Crystal said, yes, Peerless Times. It's going down, Crystal. It's going down at the Fisher Theater, April
Ooh.
7th and 8th. An amazing show. An amazing show. If you've seen it, then you might say, I'm familiar. Yeah, you're going to be familiar because God's word never changes. However, times change. And so we're moving along and changing with that. And so it's super dope. Tanya, she said the Entertainment Lounge is on MJ Own Network, www.mjownnetwork.com, and YouTube. And soon will be on Apple TV. Congratulations, Queen, on that. That's heavy. That's real heavy. So if you guys want to write that down for Instagrammers, I just shot that out there. Shout out to Tandy. Tandy, you got to come back. William Tandy, shout out to you over Instagram world. He said, I'm the truth. I love you, bro. That's all done. You got to come back to my show, Tandy. So yeah. So Tanya said the artist showcase on WJZZ Cool TV on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Crystal, she said my comedy show is April 15th, Deeper Life Gospel Center with Chanel, my first comedy show ever.
Ooh. Okay. Congratulations.
You want to kind of come on here.
I didn't know you was a comedian, girl. Okay.
I knew you were an esthetician, but you see how God is just birthing people with gifts and people are tapping into their resources. And this is what I like to tell people. And we're going to shut it down because I don't want y'all to be like, Titi, you held us over an hour. I know. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because if you got to go.
Sorry, not sorry.
But your gift will make room for you.
That part.
I promise you, your gift will make room for you. Whatever it is that God has charged you with, you need to tap into that thing. And it will open up doors beyond your own imagination. I promise you. I'm looking at Christina, living witness, me, myself, my gift. You know, I started off as a hip hop dancer back in the day. And then that's how I met Tandy. Shout out to Tandy, William Tandy. Just amazing things can happen. And what it ends up doing is we meet people. Christina and I met by way of her husband initially. Yeah. And him and I and Swifty and Vitra, we all met in Atlanta auditioning for Tyler Perry. So things happen, but our gifts make room, and connections that are meant to be, they will never be broken. You can't break those. So with that being said, I just definitely, Christina, I'm gonna have you come back. We definitely got to talk about your music career.
Yeah, we do.
You think you're slick, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all
coming back around. I feel it in my shanana.
I feel it a nod to the 2-time period. Okay. So shout out to everybody who stopped by tonight to tune in with us. If you missed the top of the hour, please go back. It'll be airing shortly. Christina, I love you. I'm looking
Love
forward
you guys more. Thank
to
you.
my babies for me. So Courtney, what
Sure
up?
will.
And everybody, you guys have a safe night. Whatever it is you do, don't forget on not May. I'm jumping ahead because there's an event in May. But on March 25th, Crystal P is having More Than the Eyes Can See at the Silver Garden in Southfield. And then following that right on up, we are going to be having Peerless Times at the Fisher Theater, April 6th, 7th, and 8th. An amazing light up. Definitely 2 events you don't want to miss. I'll see you soon. Love you, Christina. I'm going to end this show with one of Everard's songs, y'all. Let me see what I'm going to look at my little bank. Christina, I got to get a couple of your things I want to play out there. And we're going to talk about you. You got away tonight. It's all good. Gonna laugh. It's all good. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play. Boo, 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 boo. He got a lot. This last project he did, The Life of James, is amazing. I think I'm going to do Amen. It's appropriate. So this is by Everard Cassimy, y'all. He used to be our local 4 anchor. Now he's in Chicago doing this thing out there and showing them what it's all about. So we're shutting it down tonight with a song from his latest project, The Life of James, and it is called Amen. I'll see you soon.
They say you can't do both. You be up on TV, then singing them songs you wrote. Boy, you better pick one thing, 'cause we ain't trying to hear you sing. I ain't never heard nobody, yeah, but time and time again they tried me, yeah. If that makes me a bad person, well maybe you're the one who's hurting. Why you gotta hurt me so good? I will not be misunderstood. I won't let you break me again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. Sometimes they try to break you down. They see you loving life while theirs is upside down. Listen to me, sometimes it works, but them's the times. I gotta put me first. I ain't never hurt nobody, yeah. I am who I am. They can't take that away from me. Look to the one who made you who you are. You're a star, and you're gonna go far. Why you gotta hurt me so good? I will not be misunderstood. I won't let you break me again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. 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 Stronger now. Let the church say amen. Why you gotta hurt me so good? Why you? I will not be misunderstood. No. Yeah. I won't let you break me. Again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. Why you gotta hurt me so good? Amen. I will not be misunderstood. I won't let you break me again, 'cause I'm stronger now. Let the church say amen. 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 I think that'll work.